All right, welcome everybody. Very, very good news here. Just in, Delaware Supreme Court apparently ruled in favor of Tesla and Elon Musk on the Tornetta case. I think this is across the board win, right, Alexandra? Can you explain to us what this is and why this matters and what's going on?
Yes. I mean, this. I'm still completely under the emotion, so please bear with me. So we've been waiting for this for a long time, and I was checking every hour. And can you imagine that it came out just at the same moment those Epstein files came out? I mean, there you go. We'll talk about timing. But anyway, so I haven't looked at the Epstein cases yet. The verdict is 49 pages. As I've been looking all the time for these results from Delaware opinions, when they affirm something, it's just half a page, right? Here it was 49 pages. They really went into detail into what was acceptable and what was not. So what they did affirm is that the Chancery Court was right in saying that Elon had a controlling role, even though he doesn't have the 33% or 50% of shares, right? So they gave them that, which may be an issue in some cases that are still open with the Delaware Chancery Court. Okay, so that's the little dark or undecided part of the whole thing. So that is the Elon, in their view, Elon has an influence. It doesn't matter for now and for the future because we're now in Texas and they have a completely different way of looking at it. But it could still have an impact on those cases that are open. And let me just address those quickly. There was a hearing on those a couple of weeks ago, also middle of October. And Tesla was asking that these cases are now moved to Texas. I think that would be the most elegant version for Delaware to get out of it. But if they want to keep them in Delaware, this initial part of the Delaware Supreme Court judgment is going to be a little bit of a burden for us. But on the rest, we won all through the line, meaning they have completely reversed that the Chancery Court canceled the stock option package. So it's not canceled anymore. It is in place as it was. It has been paid for by us a long time ago between 2018 and 2022 at a $3 billion accounting cost. So that's back in place. I mean, it's never really been off place, but it should have been taken off. And it would have cost us more than $120 billion to reinstate it now. So we won on that line completely. It is reinstated. They said that he has performed, and you can't just say afterwards that you are canceling something that had conditions that you can't go back anymore in time. He has performed them. So the whole compensation package is reinstated in full, all 12 tranches, and Elon will have the options expiring. I think it's in January 2028. So that is that. Then they also ruled on the second part, which were the lawyer's fees and the compensation of Mr. Richard Tornetta. Yes. Mr. Richard Tornetta gets $1. $1. I mean, I think we should. No, I'm not. I think we should put it into an envelope and send it and put a kiss on it and send him. I mean, with his meager 9 shares, then 135 now because we had the stock splits.
$1.
So he will get $1. But the plaintiff's lawyers, exactly.
Yes.
The plaintiff lawyers, remember, they went for $345 million, and then there would have been interest on those because we were supposed to pay these last year in December, and by now it would have probably exceeded $400 million because there's so much interest on them, right? Now they get only now a reduced fee award based on what is called quantum merit, which is 4 times the multiplier of their hours. So if I recall it right, they have 19,000 hours. And then I remember what their rate is. But I mean, this is much, much less than before. And this is actually, if I recall it right, exactly what Tesla's lawyers had requested, which brings it out to about 50, 60 million, if I recall it right.
Good.
Again, I don't
Anything
have
over
all
100,
the details,
I would have been
but
happy.
It worked all the way. Yeah. So there we are.
Wow. So across the board. So it sounds like across the board, right? What was the one thing that wasn't as good?
Well, the one thing that's not as good, they didn't really restate on it, is is Elon a controlling party, right? This is actually one of these big topics between in which state should you incorporate. Nevada has these rules, Texas has other rules, and Delaware has these rules. And so, and Delaware actually changed its law to now make it more clear that I think it's the 33% threshold now that you need to be a controlling party. But anyway, so the Delaware Supreme Court said, yes, he's a controlling party. He cannot be just considered any, CEO, but it's beyond the fact that he has a certain number of shares. He's just the key figure, so he's a controlling party. So it didn't matter at all in this case anymore because we got what we wanted. And why do I still feel this is a little bit, it is because we have these other cases open. I'm just trying to find my notes because, there's so much going on in my head is exploding, which was remember the police and fire retirement system of the city of Detroit. It was the Cleveland Bakers and Teamsters Pension Fund and the employees retirement system of Rhode Island. All those were about selling Tesla shares when he bought then Twitter. And then there was insider trading in the Perry case. And then there was this allocation of GPUs to XAI rather than Tesla. So those are more or less the three topics. So what happened in those cases?
Yes.
In these three cases is they are still at the Chancery Court. They had a hearing. In the hearing, Tesla said, you know what, we're gone. Push these cases now to Texas and the Texas court will decide about them. And the opposing lawyers say, no, we keep them here. And now obviously this judgment where it says, he is a controlling party and he's a controlling party. Let's face it. I'm all for Tesla. I'm all for Elon, but he is the centerpiece of everything. So that may actually backfire for those three remaining cases. But it does not matter. It does not matter anymore in Texas. We will have to deal with those cases. We'll see what comes out with them. I still am very hopeful that Delaware just has enough publicity on them for the moment and just hopes to push these cases now to Texas and lets it go. And if it's not, well, we'll deal with them. But we won this one. We really did. And I want to thank all the shareholders. How many of you have written letters to the Chancery Court and then to the Supreme Court? How many have signed petitions? How many have helped in any way? Then we did, with Farzad and Larry. And I'm coming to Amy in a second. I texted her. I still don't know where she is. But anyway, so with Larry and Farzad and John and you and me, we did that amicus letter. We did what we could. And we really had an uphill battle, and we won.
We won. Okay, so the 2018 was it? What year was this? I'm confused now. The 2018 compensation plan. Tornetta came and sued Elon. Then they held it back, and then all this was in a huge hit on the stock, and then the board came out with a 2025 performance award. This is back, which is great because it just means it all comes true. So Elon is not in any way affected anymore in terms of his stock options, the date of stock options, the price of stock options of the 2018.
Actually, even better. So the little silver lining in this whole thing is, so the board very rightly so had a plan B in place, right? Because they said he needs to have this 2018 compensation, right? It would have cost us all enormous amount of monies, but they wanted to remunerate him and justly so. And so they put it in place. And remember, they gave these restricted stock early to him, exactly 96 million shares. They gave to him with which he could vote.
Right.
Here. Now he has to give them back. But he could vote in the meantime. Isn't that wonderful?
Well, what actually happens to that? The calculation of how much voting shares he was going to get. Is it because this was approved? Is it higher now or lower now?
Well, actually, the results from Tesla are much higher because I don't know whether analysts were clever enough, but they should have put this potential accounting charge of $120 billion. You have no idea how much money this is. This is just enormous what this would have cost us. So this accounting charge, in some way, they must have accounted for it, right? Even though on Polymarket and all that, the chances of winning was 70%. But, you never know with legal systems. There was, for me, I was so worried about it. In my gut, it was a much higher chance that we lose than that we win. Not that we didn't do everything we should have, but it was just it is. So I mean, for me, this is a reason to go well beyond $500 if anybody would understand that. We're obviously, the market is closed. And again, what a shame to release this Friday when the
Right.
Epstein case is all over this place and nobody's actually going to remember Monday, but that's the way
Right.
it is.
But no, but they needed to do it after the stock market because this should move it. But okay. Tesla won. Elon won. Thank you, Alexandra, for the work you did. Amy, just a lot of people, the shareholders, they stepped up and took us many years to figure out what we're doing. But here we are.
Yeah, and let me maybe address Amy, because I don't know whether people understand a little bit how much she had to take on.
Yeah.
First of all, she had to more or less disappear from the public space, which is tough. Right. We all love the attention we're getting and the love we're getting from all of our followers. So that's the first thing. The second is, she could not trade any of her stock. That meant she had to keep her Tesla stock the way it was. No buying opportunity, no selling opportunity. It just had to be there. And this was going on now for more than a year and a half. Then, the reputational risk that you take by putting your name out there, by actually having now your portfolio disclosed to the public, by your name now being in the press. I mean, this woman took on so much, and over such a long time. We owe her everything, because it's all good, the big mouth I am and the work I did, and I don't want to say I didn't do a lot. I did a lot, but she did actually so much more of the back work and of the legal work and of the stuff that really matters in a courtroom. I think I was very good in communication and getting people informed and motivated, but she did the real hard work, which is the one that counts in legal terms. And crazy grateful to everything she has done.
So first of all, I think this is such a big win because several things, right? Obviously, the judge made miscalculation, did something overreached, damaged Delaware. A lot of companies have fled, and I'm sure that's not going to stop just because of this reversal. But the Supreme Court of Delaware goes, oh my God, 25% of our state revenue comes from this, and it's like bleeding. We got to stop it. So she caused damage, but at the end of the day, Tesla, Elon, more damage, no doubt about it, but they're back to whole. And then what I'm loving is Tornetta himself got $1, and then lawyers getting 50 million, whatever amount it is. That's still ridiculous. But anyways, it is at least.
Oh, Farzad, don't you pay Herbert?
What?
Gosh, Farzad just paid you $100. Look at that.
That's not. What the freaking. It's you. It's for you. I have to pay you the $100.
Well, okay. I want to see that money. Thank you, Farzad.
I will pay you the $100, okay? Because you gave me a check for me winning that. Yes. I Venmo her now. Yes, I'll bet right here. You want? Okay, I'll do it while we're talking. Okay, Jesus, can't even.
And I mean, you know what? Where I'm really happy as well is because Delaware did change a little bit their law, but the cases of Tornetta are still possible, right? Not in Texas. In Texas, you need to own 3% of all outstanding stock to do a derivative case. But in Delaware, you can still have a single shareholder doing all this stuff. And the fact that Tornetta now ends up only with $1, that's gonna help a lot of other people of not doing this anymore, right? This is just, I mean, he put his name, and I have no pity with this man, don't you worry.
Okay.
He put his name out there. But yeah.
Okay. I was going to show people the thing, but I better not, because it's like, maybe private info. There. Done. No, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, obviously, this is tiny little amount of money.
Oh, but I got money. I got money.
Ding, ding, ding. But it's what it means, right? This is just the philosophy of it. So are you a little bit pissed that Elon is controlling that's still stuck, even though it means nothing?
You know what? I think they did that so that the attorneys from Tornetta can get paid, because if they would have reversed it completely, I don't know what would have happened to the attorney fees. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't want to start speculating. I wish we would have already Professor Anderson here, but I have the feeling that is what preserves the attorney fees of Tornetta's lawyers. I got my money. Thank you so much, Herbert. Thank you, Farzad.
Geez, people are texting me going, pay her. And I see, it costs more problem than helping, okay?
Oh my. I mean,
Okay, so then the $1 because he only had 9 shares, people were pretty pissed off, but they just used them. He was really just like, they would pick anybody out there. So right. He's not the guy to be upset at Tornetta himself. Okay. Yeah, he goes, you better prove it. Stop, you prove it, dude. Hey, he might pull back his money, okay? Just because he presses that, he could sucker.
how's that do it?
I've heard this story. Like people in OnlyFans, like they actually pay money and then they go and charge it back later. And then, anyways, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
look at that! Did you see that? You just got $100.
Oh, damn it! Now I have to pay her again.
No, he says this
Stop
one is
it.
for her.
Stop it. Oh, thank you. But okay, so big deal. How is Elon going to feel about this? Obviously, it's better, or he didn't really care anymore. It's done past for him, or is this something that this actually gives him more? Yeah.
No. I mean, first of all, like I said, he had those voting rights, so I'm sure he's having a good giggle here.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Wait. Let's pause for a second for that because it's hilarious, right? So the judge in Delaware tried to harm Elon and Tesla, but in doing so, it actually gave, because of the way that Tesla reacted, gave Elon the ability to have voting shares ahead of time in order to vote for the 2025 performance award, of which he was able to vote for several things that are very critical. So it was just this like how bad news could actually turn out to be good news,
including his pay package 2025.
Oh my god, that's like meta. I don't know what the word is. It's like
crazy, right?
Karma.
It's
like
it's everything.
Fate.
So how does Elon feel? As a Tesla shareholder, and he is one of the major shareholders, right? He's on the way back to way over 25%. He can only be happy, I know it sounds crazy when I say $120 billion in accounting charges, because nobody can imagine what that means in terms of money. We
hitting
would have
Tesla's
had
books
for 4 to 5 years every quarter this charge in our books, and that would have damaged the results. Of course, it's only accounting gap thing, but that's what stock exchanges are about. They're not thinking 6 months later that, oh yeah, we now have to count out the accounting charge and whatever. It would have been such a mess. So just for that, it is just him as a shareholder, he can only be as happy as we are. There is no doubt about it. Him as a person to get remunerated, of course, it doesn't matter, because he would have gotten the plan B that the board put in place would have given him the effective usage of those options anywhere, and actually as restricted stock. That's why he was able to get those 96 million early and would have gotten the second part now, but now he doesn't need it anymore, because now he has to actually hand back 96 million shares, which I mean, they're not materialized, right? But they're now accounting wise going back, because the old plan is in place. And in the old plan, and actually,
by the way, is the 2018 old plan already, because it's been legally approved now? Is it pretty immediate? He's got it already as of today, or is it certain days?
It was actually never gone, so it's still existing the same way. And in the same way, actually, those options expire in January 2028. So so
that's why he had time anyways.
He has option. Now the difference between the 2018 plan and the 2025 plan is those were options, and now they're doing restricted stock. And restricted stock, I think they learned a lesson how much more clever restricted stock is. Exactly.
Yeah.
So he is having a lot of advantages. I mean, I don't know whether he drinks champagne, but this would be a day to drink champagne.
You should drink champagne. How come we aren't?
Oh, I'm not drinking.
This is blood, sweat, and tears.
No makeup, tears, everything. I look the worst I've ever looked.
Tears. Yeah, you and Amy and the team, a lot of us put in a lot of work, but this was very good. And then again, it worked out really well. And the $1 charge to the plaintiff, that's great. The 50 million, that's great, because even though it's a lot of money, it's, what do you call it? Quantum merit, which is the
four times the number of hours.
They were being egregious trying to ask for some ridiculous amount of money, like one of the highest ever paid kind of thing.
Yeah. Larry says something very good. He says, I think Tornetta will get a share. I don't know whether I can, am I administrator? I think I can put it here. Yeah. Tornetta gets a share of the lawyer fees. We talked about that, remember, with what was his name? The lawyer we had on from
Robert
California.
Anderson?
No, the other one, I don't remember his name. I'm sorry about that. Farzad, you know his name. He's always on your channel. And he told us that these plaintiffs that give their name and their portfolio for the lawyers, they usually get about $10,000. So he may get more than the
Richard
$1.
Hoffman.
Richard Hoffman, exactly.
Sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you. What did he say?
So Richard did say thank you. Yes, somebody said it there in the chat as well. That these plaintiffs who give their name and their portfolio.
Breaking news. Breaking news. Elon Musk sent a text saying to you, Alexandra Merz.
I don't think so.
Yes.
You're making a joke again.
Thank you for your unwavering support.
Sure. Why didn't he send it to me? He didn't send anything.
He did.
To me.
No, like not. He sent it as a reply to your post.
Thank you, Elon.
Thank you for your unwavering support.
You really all want to make me just cry there.
Yeah, there you go. Elon obviously is very, very appreciative, and Tesla is very appreciative. This is the power of the Tesla retail community led by you. Thank you very much for organizing us, doing all that work, telling us what we need to do our part. Doing all that work is critical. But right, the power of the she's crying. Would you cry?
It's okay.
What are you doing?
It's okay.
What? What happened?
I don't want to cry on camera.
You already are. All right, wait. I'm going to show this. This screenshot. I think it's worth it to see it. What happened to it? Yeah. I mean the fact that Elon and Tesla are watching, or at least obviously recognizing what it is that the group is doing, that means that they do appreciate it. It means that it actually is important and it makes a difference. I mean, it really did make a difference, right? Thank you for your unwavering support from Elon Musk directly to Alexandra Merz, the queen.
Yeah.
Tesla.
Yeah, I think I'm in for a bigger crown. Not me.
I need more. Farzad, she's asking for a friggin' crown, okay? And she doesn't want it from China.
Herbert, don't you pay it, Farzad. Don't you pay it, Farzad. He pays it.
I have to find her a friggin' crown. No. Wow, this is good news. I mean, he's happy. So the board. What was the role of the retail shareholders? Can you just remind us in terms of could the board have addressed this? Could lawyers? I'm sure they did all their work. By the way, I know that they also thank you specifically for the work you're doing. But what is it that? Yeah. And Amy, of course. Yeah.
Sure. So take this down, because if not, I'm going to just continue crying.
People are pissed off that I made you cry. It's a good cry. It's a good cry.
The role of the retail shareholders was all along the road, but really crucial. The first one was that we wrote all these letters to the Delaware Chancery Court. That was unheard of.
How many letters?
Published them. More than 1,500 that she had to publish. She could only publish those for which they could prove that they were shareholders, because then they made our shareholder bank, or transfer agent, sorry, I can't even speak anymore, check who really had shares, and those they had to then publish. And that was more than 1,500 people. That was the first one. The second was that because of shareholder action, Tesla came up with that idea, and they confirmed that to me multiple times, to redo a second vote. Remember last year in July when we voted? That was because we were pushing for it. Yes. And they said, okay, there we go. We had thousands of people telling us we have to do this, and we did. We did all these signed letters, and we did that. And then in the phase where it went into appeal, and I think we were also very good in managing public opinion, right? By going, to the press, by discussing that, just so that there was another opinion out there. Because you know how it is with Tesla. They hate us so much. They just love putting the negative stories out. And I think many retail shareholders were really good at reaching out to the press and making sure that they got their story straight. And then once we were in appeal, we wrote to the Delaware Supreme Court, and we did that amicus letter that were retail shareholders as well. So I think that the constant pressure from us is certainly something they're not used to. When you see, well, I actually went through so many Supreme Court opinions and then also Chancery Court judgments. I mean, honestly, I could have spent my time differently and I would have been just as happy. But it is. It's so boring. But thank you. That's really where Grok is good, right? And that's where you see that AI is really helpful. But it is clear that nowhere, not Meta, not Oracle, not Intel, not whatever, all those big prestigious cases, because there were many of them lately, never did retail shareholders voice anything. It was only for Tesla that we had this mobilization and this focus. And I heard a couple of times from a former chancellor of the Chancery Court said, I've never heard this, and keep on going, because they're not used to this. They're not used to it. And then there were lots of Delaware residents actually that reached out to me that were Tesla shareholders, not some are small shareholders, some are big shareholders, that were so embarrassed by their state. So they also put political pressure on and, reached out to their Congress people and said, this is not normal. Because we educated, right? How many shows did you allow me to talk about this? We were at the point where I was like, I'm not talking Delaware anymore, but yeah, we have to. So let's talk Delaware again. And that helped building up that pressure. And I mean, for the state of Delaware, this was important that this ended this way, right? This was really important. This is going to help them maintain big companies. I always try to explain, nobody in the world wants to change a state of incorporation. That we won last year, that vote to move to Texas was highly unlikely. Exactly. That was highly unlikely. Nobody believed we can do it. And we did. We mobilized retail shareholders all over the world. The board went to see all the institutionals and told them, please vote for Texas. We have to get out of Delaware. And we got it. We got it overwhelmingly. And so can you imagine if you're a Meta, or if you are one of the other big companies that are in the US, having to do that work to get to 66%? Impossible to do. It's impossible.
And now, I can't believe it.
Exactly. So what we were able to do as a retail shareholder community, getting us out of Delaware, is something that nobody wants to go through. And this judgment will probably calm companies to the point that they say, well, fair enough, let's stay there, because at least we have the Supreme Court that seems to be reasonable. And again, I wish we would have won on the controlling issue as well, but what the heck? We have to also celebrate what we can celebrate.
Yeah, obviously a big thank you to the shareholders. They are motivated. They are willing to spend hours and efforts themselves. They just needed people to explain what's going on, the complication, and what is the right move, or whatever they would decide to do. And so they appreciate that. But with that, everybody, then it's unbelievable how many people actually acted, physically write letters, physically, write out instructions of how to vote, those kind of things.
And again, and most importantly, made it possible last year to vote. I mean, so many people had no idea how to vote and got themselves informed and got there.
That's
but so many people couldn't do it. Exactly.
That's going to help for future now. So
exactly. They had to educate their banks, or they had to move their banks to get to another bank. So this whole movement we started, I think, is a real movement of retail participation that's not going to be stopped anymore. And I'm so glad it's with Tesla, because with Tesla, obviously, we have a CEO that will support that. And, we feel we fight for the right fight. We're not just fighting for a company and its financial results. We really fight for the good cause.
Yeah. Do you think that this will, one of our favorite statements is don't mess with Tesla, don't mess with Elon, and don't mess with the Tesla retail shareholders. Do you think that other lawsuits are going to be a little bit more careful, or not? This is too much money. They're going to go for it. They hate it so much.
So what happened is those 3 cases that are still open were all open in the last 15 days, or 4 weeks. 2 to 4 weeks before we left, right? So there was already the proxy out saying we want to leave to Texas. And then these lawyers suddenly found a good reason, found a pension fund, and came in and said, they put GPUs to XAI. Tesla, when he sold Tesla not the right way when he set up Twitter, and blah, blah, blah. So they found these more than dubious law cases, which are all now regrouped. And so we actually have to go through this only once because she regrouped them all. And they're all with Judge McCormick at the moment. So since then, Herbert, since that moment that we left, 13th of July last year, there were 0 law cases. 0 for a year and a half now. You're listening, you're not listening to me.
Well, I'm talking to Amy, so she's flying.
Oh, you're talking to Amy?
Yeah.
Oh, she's
she's an airline pilot. She's flying and she's going to land in an hour. So, there's a reason why she can't. She's busy. Yeah. She's busy. She's doing something, Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
So since then 0. So this all happened in June of 2024, these last law cases in Delaware. Then we left, right? Nobody knew that we would be able to leave. Everybody thought we would not be able to leave, but the lawyers put the foot in the door. They're now regrouped. Since then, we're in Texas. In Texas, this year in May, they installed the 3% threshold. So between last year, July, and May, we had 10 months where we could have had lawsuits. We had 0. Since May, we have the 3% threshold. 0 law cases.
Okay, just to explain what that is. If somebody wants to sue Tesla, and now because you're in Texas, you need to have at least 3% representation of at least 3% of the shares of Tesla's market cap in order for you to vote and to sue. Yeah.
So if you sue in a derivative case is that you sue in the name of all shareholders. Right? Yeah. It's not only you saying my Tesla has a problem with the windshield. I don't know, whatever. Right? It is about this company is not run the way it should. Me, Tornetta, in the name of all shareholders, blah blah blah, puts forward a derivative share, and for that and in Delaware you can still do that with one single share, and in Texas you need 3% of outstanding shares. We have 3.3 billion shares outstanding, so you need a good chunk of money. So it's good. State Street and BlackRock and Vanguard. That's about it.
Okay, that's the next question for you, Alexandra. So what is our next thing to do? Because remember how we Schwab. Okay, Charles Schwab said that they're going to vote no on the 2025 CEO performance.
You don't want me to have a little rest, right? You don't.
No. So you because of that, you Schwab, which is great. They flipped and they said, no, okay, we're going to vote yes. I mean, like, how could you own, this is the injustice of it all. A Tesla shareholder doesn't get to vote their shares. Schwab somehow gets to vote it, and they're going to vote no. And then now you have State Street and others. So we're going to go down that list, right? And we're going to basically try to.
So, I mean, there's a lot of ongoing work I continue doing, right? I mean, this was obviously keeping me busy more than I wish it was. But I'm continuing doing my 3 monthly charts on the rating agencies treating us like shit. So that pressure is gonna build up, and it will build up even more over the next couple of quarters, because as the financial situation, as recurring revenue comes in from the subscriptions and all that, I think we're up and in for an upgrade. I also keep an eye on the short sellers. So because I mean, short sellers are not a real problem anymore, but the ones that are still short selling are the real nasty ones. So, you have to trace where do they come politically.
They do disinformation campaigns. That's
exactly.
why
so it's good. So Herbert just sell Alexandra $1. Thank you. I don't want any more money.
I did already. They want me more.
And so all that is all that is still going on. Rating agencies, short sellers, and like I said, we still have those 3 cases in Delaware. It's not as if I'm
right. Okay, and I want to be very, very clear, and you can explain this right now. I'm not getting paid by Tesla. We are not. That's why a comment from somebody, Elon saying, "Hey, thank you for your support." That's basically it. We're not even doing it for necessarily for any benefit at all. This is like nothing, and. Yeah, so nobody needs to pay us any money. Don't, do anything like that. We don't need that. That we're doing it because of the mission.
No passion for it. Exactly. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I mean, there will be more to come. One of my dreams for next year is to set up. Oh, it's Rob Anderson coming. Good. One of my dreams is to set up a fund where retail can actually participate in all of Elon's companies. So I did post that. I had no reaction from Elon, so I'm still, hopeful that may be something I can do. I mean, I just want to bring the wealth of my knowledge the last 35 years to this retail community. I feel much more responsible for the retail community than for Tesla, actually.
And then to be clear, if you are able to do an ETF of all of Elon's companies, it's not because you want to make money. It's because it's unfair that a regular shareholder is not able to buy into a stock like SpaceX or Neuralink and others. And then we should set up this ETF and then have the really lowest possible management fees just to break even. That, again, we're not doing this to make money.
No, and thank you for giving me quickly that possibility to say that. People go, oh my gosh, you just want to get rich now of your Tesla fame. No, I don't want to get rich of my Tesla fame. I'm fine. I'm taken care of. I'm good. I don't need this on top of it. I just think at the moment the solutions that are in place for accredited investors to invest in the other Elon companies are so expensive, and there are so much, so many hands getting rich in the meantime. That we have a CEO that wants to favor retail. So I think I have a solution. So if this works, that'll be fantastic.
Okay.
This is not about me.
Professor Rob Anderson, thank you very much for joining us today. This is a win for all of us. Amy's not here. You were obviously is important for everything that's happening. So tell us what's happened. Why, in your perspective, why is this a big deal for Tesla, for the Delaware Supreme Court?
Yeah, well, I hope you can hear me all right.
Yes,
I was sorry, I was in the car when this happened. So, but yeah, it's a big day for Tesla for all the reasons that you've already described. I think I was listening to it on my way back home. Avoiding those accounting charges and so forth. We would have found a way, one way or the other, to do what was right. But this is much better. But it's a big day for Delaware because, the Supreme Court came through here, found a way to do to right the wrong. And I think they actually, they did it in a really smart way because they didn't get into the nitty gritty of fairness or the disputed ratification questions or control. They basically just said the remedy here was not appropriate rescission because you couldn't put Elon back in what's called the status quo ante, or the situation beforehand. He'd been working for 6 years. There's no way to undo that. And it's as I've been saying for a long time, it's just a standard bedrock principle of equity that if you're going to award rescission of a contract, you need to be able to put the defendant back in the position they were in before. So if I sell you my land, okay, and the court undoes the transaction for whatever reason and gives me back the land, you don't get to keep the money, right? So you have to unwind the whole transaction. And unfortunately, it wasn't just money; it was time. And the court basically said you can't wind back the clock and give him the time back. And so you can't award rescission as a remedy. And if you remember, that was when we were doing the live stream during the Supreme Court hearing, that was one of the questions that I think it was Justice Valiura asked, is like, how do you, have you ever unwound, a comp package like this many years after it was awarded, expressing skepticism of the idea that you could fairly do that. So
was this what you expected? And is this across the board win, or do you think that there's some? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I suspected this was a good possibility. As you recalled, like when we did during the live stream, this was one of the 3 routes that defendants counsel, Tesla and Elon's counsel, suggested for the court to resolve it. They basically said, look, you can reverse the trial court on the fairness and say it was entirely fair. That would be one route. Mm-hmm. You could accept the ratification, the shareholder vote. That would be another route. Or the third route, I actually think it was the second, but you could reverse the remedy and say rescission was not an appropriate remedy because you can't put Elon back in the status quo. With those last 2 routes, they say the case is over at that point. And so I think they wanted the case to be over. Yes. So they took one of those routes that was suggested by Jeff Wall. And that was just a masterful way that he presented it, and the court said, you know what, you're right. this is the easiest way out of this predicament. And so, although, yes, part of me, I think I was listening, Alexandra, what you're saying earlier, part of me would like a complete vindication that they go beyond everything they needed to decide and say, not only was it the wrong remedy, but it was entirely fair and he wasn't a controller. And, but that would have been nicer in some ways. But I think this was the cleanest way for them. Tesla's gone.
Victory is victory. Yeah.
Yeah. And also the other thing is, because of the SB 21, this isn't the law that this is being decided under isn't even the law anymore. So it's almost, it wouldn't have even been all that relevant. It would have been confusing to decide those issues in this case, because that law has been overridden by the legislative enactment. So I think it was really smart on their part.
What do you think about reducing the lawyers' fees, and why do actually Tornetta's lawyers still get fees?
So quantum meruit is basically a Latin term for like, so much value has been provided essentially for services. So, like if I do some work for you, like paint your house or something, and our contract isn't valid for whatever reason, but you still got some value out of it, a court will award me quantum meruit for the value of the services that I provided. So basically, what the court here is saying is they should get the value of the service that they provided, and they accepted Tesla's invitation to set that value at essentially 4 times Lodestar, which is just Lodestar is just multiplying their hourly rate by the number of hours they worked. And then multiplying that by 4 to give them, to account for the risk and difficulty of the case. So it brings the fees down significantly. And actually,
it was 60 million, right?
I'd have to calculate it out. But actually, they accepted the invitation that had been suggested by a number of people, including I think Amy's lawyers. I believe
it was both Amy's and Tesla's lawyer, and I think it was both the same amount, around 60 million, which is, obviously much less than the 400 million. I still hate every penny we have to send to them, but what the heck? It is what it is. If you think that we lost last quarter 400 million just to the tariffs, it is now. It is what it is.
It's a big win. It's a big win.
It is a huge win. And he knew he was losing. Remember, I don't remember his name anymore. That's a sleazeball, I don't remember.
Greg
his name
Varela.
Oh yeah, you remember his name. That's good. He knew he was losing when he was at the oral arguments. There's no doubt about it.
I think
so. Herbert, who are you texting with this time?
Amy. I'm texting Amy. What? Why can't I?
Because you don't listen to us.
I'm thanking her. I'm thanking her for what she did. She's like she's flying a plane right now. A little bit more important. She's literally. So I'm not lying. Anyways, Professor Anderson, the work you guys did. So, what do you think is going to happen in Delaware? So the damage seems to be done. It seemed to have backfired on that judge, by the way, because Alexandra was going through all the benefits that Elon and Tesla actually ended up getting because of that. It turns out to be the best thing in the world to have actually moved to Texas, I think, and all these things sets us up well for future. But what's happened to Delaware? Does this rule by the Supreme Court stop the bleeding?
It helps. It helps. It's hard to say whether it stops the bleeding or not. It's definitely better than the alternative, right? So I think there's another big case that is pending, not related to Tesla, which is called Rutledge versus Clearway, that challenged the SB 21 reforms, the reforms that were put in place after the Elon case, basically to try to stop the departures. And I'm virtually certain the Supreme Court will decide that the right way. In other words, that the reforms are constitutional. But that's the next thing they need. They need to decide relatively quickly, because we are getting into the period where boards are starting to, if they're going to think about putting reincorporation on their proxy, this is about the time where they're going to be making those decisions. So time is of the essence in them just validating that reform package. But that's the next thing. But this was the big uncertain one. I think I'm virtually certain how they're going to decide that other case in a positive way. So I think it helps them. I think it really helps them. I think it restores a lot of confidence back, at least that the Supreme Court and the legislature, don't forget the Delaware legislature, who very rapidly, put in place a set of reforms almost unanimously. In fact, in the Senate, I think it was unanimous in the Delaware Senate. It was
So I have a
very
question.
small
I have a
opposition in
question
the
for
House.
Professor
Yeah,
Anders.
please.
So they gave in on the controlling part, but then in that new bill, I think they declared that controlling was at least 30 or 33% now. Didn't they put a percentage on the controlling?
It's normally 50 under the bill, but they say it can be as low as 30 if you 33 and a third, 1/3, if you prove additional facts that demonstrate control.
So my question is the following. So in this case, they left that little door open. Now we still have these other 3 cases open that were heard in October as well. The pension fund and all those crap. Remember those? So since those are still open, does now the new bill invalidate the controlling part, or are they old enough that she can now triumph and say, look, I always told you he was a controller, and then pull them out for those 3 cases again?
It depends. It depends on when they were filed, and I don't because the bill attempted to not apply to retroactively. So I'm actually not sure on those. I mean, the ones related to the directors it doesn't directly affect because it didn't involve a controlling shareholder. But so it would depend on. My guess is it probably doesn't affect them, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so she can actually use this argument now. I mean, like I said, in those 3 cases, Tesla asked in the oral arguments that they were transferred now to Texas, which I think would be an elegant way for everybody to get out of it. And in Texas, nobody would care about any of these arguments. So
I don't think this case hurts him on that. So basically, what the court said here was, we don't need to resolve the control issue because we're resolving it on a narrower ground. Now, I think probably technically.
Since didn't it affirm it? No. I think it affirmed it. I'm sorry. You obviously.
I skimmed it. I skimmed it in the car, just like
what it says is the Supreme Court affirmed the lower court's finding that there were breaches of fiduciary duty in the approval process for Musk's 2018 compensation package.
That's the lower court.
It affirmed that. Yeah. So the Chancery Court, they affirmed that.
Okay. I'd have to. I looked at it as they said we don't need to resolve these issues, but I mean, I think technically by awarding $1 damage, they are effectively affirming it. They were invited to do that by Tesla counsel, I think, because they said, this will resolve this case if we just simply vacate the remedy.
I see. Because if they didn't do that, then it could be another lawsuit.
If they didn't do what?
If they didn't agree that this was because of Elon controlling it, maybe then there would be no lawsuit. Okay, I'm stretching.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at it though as we say. I mean, basically, right under the beginning where it says analysis, they say the justices have differing opinions about liability here. So they had disagreement, which is unusual on their court. Let's see. It says although the justices have varying views on the liability determination, we agree that rescission was an improper remedy and therefore choose that narrower path to resolve this appeal. So that's what they didn't address control or ratification in terms of its validity. They basically said that argument hasn't been waived, because that was one of the plaintiff's claims, was that they waived that argument. They said they didn't waive that argument. It was an improper remedy because they can't restore the status quo. So I don't think they made a determination one way or the other on control.
Okay, interesting. So it's across the board win then, if that's the case.
Yeah.
It's across the board win. This is fantastic. Wow, and it's over, done.
I can't believe yet that it's
Move
over.
on.
It's just, my gosh.
It's
Rob,
been hanging
how
on
many
their heads for years.
Months and years has this hanging on us? Exactly. Hanging is the right word. Clinging to us. My gosh. Well, at least we made friends, right? We have to say that. There's always a silver lining.
Well, yeah, we wouldn't have met Professor Rob Anderson. He's amazing. Look
Right.
at him.
Oh, thank you.
Hopefully, we don't have to lean on you in the future. Maybe
What
we
a
will.
shame that this came out Friday after before a holiday weekend. With the next week people are off. I mean, this would have deserved so much more press and analysis, and it will just go away now. But it doesn't matter.
Yep.
The more important thing is that we won. Thank you,
guys.
Herbert, for setting this up.
Thank you, everybody. And maybe we'll do another show next New Year with Amy, hopefully, and we can talk about the future and where we're headed. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate all the work. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for jumping on board.